Michigan has been the top story in all the sports world, hell, probably in the entire world. I'm not sure if it's a bigger story over the last 22 hours or so than Sherrone Moore's firing, his subsequent arrest, rumors of all kinds of scandalous and salacious and just frankly frightening behavior of him potentially making death threats, potentially threatening to take his own life, ultimately leading into his arrest. I am James Yoder, watching the Michigan Football Report. We are going to talk all that, and then later on, second half of the show, I'm going to talk about 4 mega candidates that I don't think, based on conversations in the past 18 hours, are crazy that Michigan might not just knock on their door, say, here's an offer, yes or no in 24 hours. What questions can we ask you before, answer for you before they actually potentially get a candidate who is more realistic? But I do think Michigan, unlike with Sherrone Moore, needs to swing for the fences like they did back in fall of 2014 with one Jim Harbaugh. We'll start by asking you guys this. Who should be Michigan's next coach, right? Make the prediction, right? Who's the top candidate that you think should be Michigan's next head coach? I want to see what you guys are thinking here, and we'll jump into the comments and get back and forth with you guys. This is going to be the hottest topic of this Michigan football offseason by a mile. Of course, schools don't change coaches that often, and Michigan's looking for a new head coach just 2 years after Jim Harbaugh went to the NFL. So some interesting names that I still am not putting in my top 5, but they are right there. They are on the radar. I'm looking into them. I'm trying to connect dots. I'm trying to see what they would be as Michigan's coach. Number 1, here is Clark Lea from Vanderbilt. Right now, he's a Vanderbilt graduate, but look, Vanderbilt. They just got the number 1 quarterback in the country, Jack, at Vanderbilt, right? Some nice NIL dollars, so he's putting those to work. Sherrone Moore, he got the number 1 quarterback with some NIL dollars last year, and now Clark Lea has, right? He's been at Vanderbilt for, I believe this is his 5th season, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons, right? And he's already got them at 10-2 in the SEC. They blew out Tennessee, the last game, second last game of the year, and he would be an interesting one. Now, he's got some of that Kenny Dillingham, Rich Rod bad vibes out there where would you be taking him away from his alma mater and he would never be truly a Michigan man, whatever the hell that means at this point. But it's one that he knows how to run a clean program. He's respected. There's no scandal behind him. And he's won in the SEC, so that's not a bad choice there for Michigan. Keep discussing other interesting names. How about Mike Elko? All right. Not one that many people had thought about, not one that many people probably were even considering for this program, but he just moved 2 seasons ago, had Texas A&M in the top 2 in the country in his second season after a couple years at Duke, 22 and 23, came over. He wasn't their first choice. Remember, their first choice was Mark Stoops at Kentucky to take over that job. Elko was kind of the fallback, oh gosh, I guess we'll take him. He was the DC there in 2018, 19, 20, and 21 under Jimbo Fisher. It'd be an interesting one. His age is pretty dang young too, only 48 years old, has got himself a top 10 program. They'll be hosting a college football game. Could be one to keep an eye on, right? So we talked about Kalen DeBoer in the college football game. Mike Elko, if they were to lose Miami, could he be an option for Michigan? Now, this one I would have thought you were crazy to say, but had a conversation this morning with one of my top sources, one of the sources that texted me on November 29th that said Sherrone is going to be gone, off the field stuff that I didn't really dive into as much. It didn't seem as as realistic, a little more far-fetched. Mike Tomlin, okay? And here's why it might be interesting. He has been with the Steelers for, 20 seasons, Jack? Is that what it is right now? I mean, it's insane. He has been consistent. He is, a proven winner. He's won a Super Bowl, but he has never had a losing record. How insane is that? 18, 19, 20 seasons in the NFL, never had a losing record. Still relatively young, in his early to mid-50s. And from what I was told is they're going to make back-channel communications. There's a connection there that they can talk to him through an intermediary, through an agent, where it doesn't have to be top news story for him and his press conferences, as he's still got 4 weeks to go in the NFL season, trying to get a playoff spot, trying to win the division over the Baltimore Ravens. But the basic gist of it was, in 2015, right, when Jim Harbaugh took the job, fall of 2014, he wanted the job then. He was interested, but Michigan went all in on Jim Harbaugh. And then in 2023, Tomlin was willing to talk to Michigan, but Michigan did no search for the candidacy. So he's been out there. He's been available. He's been willing to talk to Michigan. I don't really know why, frankly, but that is out there from a source who's frankly had impeccable sources on this stuff over the years. And one of the reasons we've helped build the show from information that this source has given me. So keep an eye out for Mike Tomlin. I doubt it's going to happen, because I don't think Michigan can wait until mid-January when the Steelers might be in the playoffs to name a coach. But if they could come up with some sort of agreement and they just have a mutually parting the ways of the Steelers, hey, it's been 20 years, let's go on our way, then we could see. So just keep an eye out for those three names. Those are ones that could creep onto my top five. Before we jump into my top five, you may have saw it yesterday. It's going to be mostly the same. I'll give some new thoughts on those. And then we've got four mega stars in coaching at the end. I did want to give you my thoughts on the Sherrone Moore latest. Was taken into custody. They just tweeted out, the local police station, that no decision's going to be made today, and now he is going to be arraigned in court on Friday. So he is spending another night in jail. Dan Wetzel from ESPN tweeting that out. They're not sure if they're going to charge him, remain in custody, and is going to be in court on Friday. I told Jack, Jack, we should jump on a flight tonight, be in court to cover this, but we've got the Chat Sports Holiday Christmas party on Friday, so I'm not sure if that is a good idea. But let's just talk about what happened. Some of these details are murky, but I think I've got multiple sources kind of saying the same things with no connection, that aren't just kind of reading Twitter, and let you guys know what happened. At some point after Sherrone found out he was getting fired, was told he was being fired, he was at his home. I'm not sure if his wife knew about any of this going on previously, but then she knew because the world was about to find out, right? He had moments to tell her, and he did. I could imagine, Jack, I'm sure anybody watching this could imagine, you've done things that you're not proud of in your life, and all of a sudden the entire world knows about it, and the person you would have done these things, be the victim of this indiscretion, is sitting there in the room with you, has built a life with you, has got 3 kids, you say you love to, you've been with the guy for years, that you have such shame at that point, you think your life is over, and your name is just tarnished forever. You're going to be a cocktail party joke forever. There is probably some, which it seemed like there was, thoughts of what's the point of living anymore. And so that's what we've been told that happened, is that Sherrone had something, whether it was a knife, whether it was something else, that he may have actually put towards his neck, left the house saying he was going to commit suicide. I hope that's not true. I wouldn't say it unless I was near certain that it did happen. And then this is where the details get a little murky. At some point, he went to the mistress's house, the one that started this whole thing, her house, her apartment, whatever it is, and someone was made aware of it, right? Whether she was there or not, we're not sure, but he apparently tried to either got in the house or tried to break in. Cops may have been called there, but ultimately it sounds like how they tracked him down was his wife did like a wellness check. My husband is a Michigan football coach, and he may be threatening suicide. I know where he's at, whether it's a vehicle GPS or iPhone tracking if they're connected on, through their iPhones. We're not sure yet, but that's kind of how they tracked him down. And they found him in a parking lot, it seems like. And he's probably going to be facing at least some sort of charge of breaking into an apartment, some sort of minor breaking and entering, but potentially like a threat of a felony threat of violence towards a coworker, towards a woman, or whatever it is. So it's a very sad situation. I don't want to say I wish Sherrone Moore the best. I don't want to say hope things work out for him, because I actually am pretty pissed off at him that he just threw this chance away. If you wanted to sleep around on your wife, dude, Go to Thailand. People are out there for it. Go to Vegas. Have some call girl come to your room. This is just despicable, disgusting. I don't wish for the best for him. I feel bad for his wife, his family, but they should be fine. He's made $16 million over the last 2 seasons, and she should get half that if she decides to leave him, but maybe she won't. But let's talk about some replacement candidates. I want to recap the 5 people we did in our video live on Wednesday that we put up on the channel last night. Before we do, I'm not sure if you want to buy this, and some of you may be refunding it, asking for a refund, and that's fine if that's the case you are. You notice I am not wearing Michigan garb. I tweeted out last night, Jack, and I was serious about this. I always wear the Michigan May shorts we probably promoted on this show last year that I bought. They're awesome. The Fab 5 style shorts. I didn't wear them to practice last night because I didn't want those kids to associate me with what the Sherrone Moore is going on and what the hell is going on with this program over the last 3-4 seasons, where it's a damn scandal every single month, it seems like. But if you do still want to rock the Michigan gear, you're going to put this in a drawer, pull it back out when they name a new coach, or you feel that you're not ashamed by this program, go buy it because it's still on sale now. Sizes are only in small, medium, and large. So if you got a little heft on yourself, you've been working out, XL, double XL, not available. Small, medium, and large. I wear medium at 6 foot, 6'1" maybe, 180 pounds. Very firm in a medium. Chatsports.com/MishQZip. Link is down in the comments. Also, second paragraph of the description. Buy it. Put it in a drawer for a year. Save some money. Give it as a gift to somebody if you want. But I wouldn't wear it for a while. It's pretty embarrassing to wear Michigan football stuff right now. And that's just being absolutely honest. Now, Robinhood. What are the prediction markets? Robinhood, the stock trading app, has put out odds. I use Robinhood as my own stock trading. I'm a big fan of theirs, so I'm not going to use any other ones. I'm just kind of focus on this one for now. Jedd Fisch is the favorite. And so I want to explain to you guys what these mean. So keep this on screen here for a second, Jack. Basically, this means what you'd have to risk to win $1. So if you wanted to bet $26,000 right now, right, you could win $100,000 on Jedd Fisch being the Michigan coach. So that implies about 4-1 odds that Jedd Fisch will be the coach. Slightly less than that for Kalen DeBoer. Kate Dillingham, let's call that just worse than 10-1 odds, right? 9 cents to win yourself $1, right? That's kind of how those odds are implied. So you see Jesse Minter further back than I would have probably expected. Clark Lee from Vanderbilt we'll talk about. John Gruden, some consideration there with the Portner, which I'll mention. Matt Patricia, hell no. Jeff Brom, Marcus Freeman, I'd like it. Brian Daboll, we mentioned him a little bit yesterday. We will see. So that's kind of the stack ranking. And take that for what's real. I mean, these prediction markets are pretty good because you can win real money on them. People are, predicting presidential elections and overthrows of international governments and what the stock market's going to do. Usually the odds are driving in a direction. If they change sharply, that means somebody knows something because they put money on one of those events to happen. So let me know one more time who should be the Michigan football head coach as I jump into my top 5 candidates. Number 1 is Jesse Minter. A lot would have to happen for this to take place. And first of all, Michigan would have to decide that they're not done with the Jim Harbaugh era. So I think today, if we don't start hearing rumors or credible sources or I hear anything that Minter has back-channeled, that he's interested, that Harbaugh has given him like the stamp of approval, go back to Michigan. We can make an easy transition. You could, do what, Lane Kiffin tried to do, coach the Chargers through the rest of the season, the playoffs, go to Michigan for a couple days this week, put your staff together. Unless that happens, I'm probably going to take him off the top 5 after this weekend. Let's give Michigan a couple days to see if that shakes out. I think he would be a good coach, but I'm going to say this now about Jesse Minter. I don't think he did anything wrong in the Connor Stallion saga. I think Jesse Minter is probably a really good guy. I don't think you're going to have any scandals like with Sherrone Moore DMing Mia Sorority, a hardcore Instagram model, OnlyFans girl. And he's a pretty respectable guy from all things I've heard from people who know him. But I will say that it might just be time to wipe the slate clean. Every single person in that building that's tied to the national championship era, the scandals and the sagas of the last 3, 4, 5 years should maybe just go away. So with that being said, unless Minter becomes the main focus of Michigan after this weekend, after Sunday, 3 days from now, I'm going to wipe him off the list for good because I just think that Michigan might be better served at getting past the Jim Harbaugh era altogether. Next up, Kalen DeBoer. All right. He's got a game coming up. That game is what? Next Saturday, I think it is. Next Friday, Saturday. So next weekend. If they lose, I think he could be in play. I think maybe Alabama fans would want him in play. Maybe they're like, hey, you don't lose 8 games in 2 years. You don't lose 4 games, not make the playoff, lose to Michigan, and then go lose a first-round game to Alabama after getting crushed by Oklahoma in the national championship game. So Kalen DeBoer, a lot of smoke out there. I will repeat this. If you didn't watch yesterday's video, if you didn't watch our live show, if Michigan would have had a real search in 2024, early 2024 when Sherrone got the job, or / if Harbaugh would have made the decision right after the national title game like Nick Saban did, I think Kalen DeBoer would be Michigan's head coach today. I think if given 2 offer sheets of similar money at the same time, in January of 2024, he takes the Michigan football job over Alabama. I think it's one he's wanted. I think it's one he's eyed for a long time. And if Alabama, which is probably the best job in college sports, if it's just not what he expected, not feeling it down here, not the vibe, not feeling the love, don't be surprised they lose that game. And that's on, let's say, Saturday. I think it's on Saturday, right? Yeah, that game's on Saturday. And by Sunday afternoon, Monday morning, we're hearing that Kalen DeBoer is the next head coach of Michigan. Probably happen? No. Likely? Potential? I think it has potential. Now, this is the guy I think you should take seriously. Jedd Fisch. He's not going to, It's not going to be a nuclear bomb dropped on football. He's not going to break the internet if he becomes the head coach. But if you're just kind of putting money out there, right, and maybe toss those prediction graphics after you go to this Jed Fish graphic here, Jack, just to show you, if you're putting money, there's only one person I would put money on, Jed Fish at 4-1, right? I think it's more likely than 4-1 odds that he's the head coach of Michigan at this point, because I think it's the easy one. Would he take the job? I would assume, but maybe not. I would assume he would take the job. Would Michigan target him? Yes, there's a lot of people around the program that know Jed Fish. Does his wife, does his family, do they remember living in Ann Arbor? All those things are yes. And is he an aggressive enough, kind of forward-thinking coach that he would take kind of away some of the stink of Sherrone Moore's terrible offensive play calling when it comes to passing the ball or play clock or play management or time clock, all that different stuff? I think Jed Fish fits the bill there. You pair him with a really good defensive coordinator, and you might have yourself a staff that could win another national championship in Michigan. So I'm going to ask you guys this question. Do you think, well, would you hire Jed Fish? If you are whoever's making the decision, a lot of rumors out there that Ward Manuel's going to get fired. I think he should. I think it's, he needs to wipe the slate clean. Type H for hire down in the comments. Type P for pass. Would you hire Jed Fish? I'll stick on this for one more time. What's the connection? 2015, 2016 Michigan passing game coordinator, another guy coming off that Arizona 10-2 season in 2023. If Michigan offered him the job 2 years ago, if they did a true national search, he would probably have been the one or two top candidates along with Kalen DeBoer. But Michigan didn't do that, and so he, of course, took that job with Washington. Kind of, after they lost basically everybody. I think he had a decent year last year, much better year in his second year in 2025. Now, here's the one that's a wild card, right? Just like Jesse Minter, what does his schedule look like? Could Michigan wait until mid-January or later if the Bills move on to the Super Bowl, AFC Championship game? That might just take it off the table unless he was willing to, have it be public that he's accepted the job. Maybe do both part of him. I don't think the Bills would want that. They may fire him. But I think Joe Brady wants to be back in college. I know enough people that know of Brady, that were recruited by him, that talked to him when he was at LSU, that it's not out of the realm of possibilities that he could want to get back into college and Michigan would be that top role. I mean, look, 5 years ago when Jim Harbaugh would look like he might get fired after 2020, Joe Brady was a big candidate for us then. Still is today. Left LSU, went to the NFL, didn't have that great of success with the Carolina Panthers. Fired after 2 seasons, but went to the Bills as QB coach in 2022 and 23, and then became their interim OC and has flourished over the past 2 seasons, really turned Josh Allen into a much better quarterback. Last but not least, on my 5 that you saw, Kenny Dillingham, young, offensive guy, ran a great offensive system at Oregon, goes to Arizona State, turns them right around, takes them to the college football playoff. Cam Scatabo. You tell me if you think about offensive philosophy, Jack, that Michigan fans would want. You'd want a quarterback like Sam Leavitt, who would be a top 10 NFL prospective draft pick if things had worked out this year. He got hurt. He wasn't there. The season didn't turn out as well, but I think Leavitt's got a future, probably not at Arizona State. Does that come out? He's transferring. So, all right. He doesn't have his quarterback coming next year. Cam Scatabo. If I were to tell you an offense that I think Michigan fans would get behind, that would work at Michigan, I don't know why, but for some reason, air raid or throwing the ball, it doesn't work at Michigan. Spread option, rich on, it just didn't work at Michigan. Whether it's weather, whether it's culture, I don't know. But the offense he ran at Arizona State, mostly last year, I didn't watch him as much this year, with Scatabo as the running back, right? Big bruising running back, just a badass baller, and then an NFL-style passing game quarterback. They've got a guy who's going to be Arizona State, was it last year or this year? This year, a top 10 draft pick wide receiver, yeah. I'm trying to think, last year was the Arizona guy. This year is Arizona State. Those schools blend together. I think Dillingham will be an awesome fit, and he would get a lot more hype from national people, from Michigan fans, than Jed Fish would because of the college football playoff appearance last year, from the big-time offense that they had in 2024, and the fact that he worked under Dan Lanning at Oregon and has that winning pedigree, right? If you think about like the pedigree of college football over time, it's like Nick Saban, Kirby Smart, Dan Lanning, they all worked for each other. Now, I know those are all defensive guys, and Dillingham is an offensive guy. Who's the guy? Stein is their defensive coordinator from Oregon. It's going to Kentucky. So that's kind of the defensive one. He is the offensive version, potentially, of that coaching tree. If you guys like this video, want me to do more, we'll start trying to do 3 or 4 of these coaching search updates and hot boards like today's video. Give us a like if you still like Michigan football, despite them, unfortunately, being the laughingstock of college football. 4 candidates, make them say no. What do I mean by that? I mean, you contact their agent, you contact whoever you know that knows them, and say, would Marcus Freeman be willing to talk on the phone with Michigan Athletic Director James Yoder today? I would say, Marcus, from what we understand in the coaching circles, you have had a lot of interest from NFL head coaching jobs. I can't, in good conscience, ask you if you're interested in those because that's not my place. We don't know each other that well, but I think you've done a great job with Notre Dame. I think you understand what Big Ten football is like. I think you can recruit as well as anybody in the Midwest and nationally. It's what we need here at Michigan. I understand you're at Notre Dame, but you have no ties to them. If it's not everything you hoped it would be, despite that fact that you went to Ohio State, would you come to Michigan if we gave you everything you could ever imagine, money, resources, et cetera, et cetera? Here is a 6-year, $90 million contract with a full buyout, $15 million a year. Here is an NIL budget that will put us in the top 3 every year, no matter what, no questions asked. And we're going to have academic restrictions, taken off a little bit that you may have there at Notre Dame that prevents you from maybe winning a national title. But they were close last year. I mean, they were in the national title game. They had a 1-score game in the fourth quarter. I would go to Marcus Freeman. He's young. He's sharp looking. He's incredibly great communicator, and he wins, baby, because he has taken Brian Kelly's program and taken them up to another level. The next name on this list that is pretty obvious, but again, make him say no. He just signed this massive extension. Who cares? I mean, are you telling me a year from now, in 1 year from now, let's just say DeBoer stays at Alabama and gets fired next year, right? At the end, let's say he goes 8-4 regular season next year, he gets fired. Do you think that's going to stop Alabama? Oh, wow, he's got a $15 million buyout. Who cares? Make the offer. I mean, Kirk Cignetti signed the deal because it was in front of him. His buyout to get out of it is not like $70 million. That's what the school has to pay him. The coaches is always less. I think they should make him an offer. He says no. You move on. You go on. You talk to this next guy. Now, this is an association with the Harbaugh family. But again, I said yesterday, in May of 2011, John Harbaugh, I spent about 15, 20 minutes talking to him one-on-one. And he told me to my face, Michigan is my dream job. I support Brady Hoke. Glad he got the job. But no, I didn't really talk to him during this cycle. My brother was interested, but, decided the NFL was for him. Michigan would be my dream job. I'd always want to be the head coach of Michigan since I was a little boy. That would be amazing. That would be awesome. And maybe he was just placating to me as a guy who came up and specifically asked him, man, I heard a lot of rumors. I said, there's a lot of rumors that you might be interested in the job. And he's like, yeah, that stuff's all rumors. So didn't really clarify that or anything like that. But John Harbaugh, I mean, look, he's been there for a long time. They're not having the best season right now. He's kind of been somebody that said, oh, he could be on the hot seat. Maybe just time for a change. But I don't associate him with the Harbaugh era as much as the family, and I think he would at least consider the job if the money and the resources and everything went there. Last one, Dan Lanning. And by the way, Jack, you know what? I've been getting a lot of Twitter followers on there, so on this next one, toss my Twitter up there. I want to make sure people know where to find me on Twitter. Dan Lanning, the head coach at Oregon. Right? Oregon is a school that is where coaches leave as of late. If you think about it, okay. You had, what's his name? The guy who went to Florida State, just forgetting my name, the third Harbaugh brother, coached there for 1 year, takes the Florida State job. Then you have the guy who was the coach, I'm just forgetting these names at the top of my head, the current coach of Miami, Mario Cristobal. He takes the job. He's there for like 2 seasons, takes the head coaching job in Miami. So Oregon as a destination job, as a final job, as the last job as a college football coach, doesn't seem like it's a thing. Florida State was able to take the coach. Miami is able to take the coach. All the way across the country, Dan Lanning has no ties to Oregon. I'm sure he feels appreciated. I'm sure he likes it. He has taken them a step up where they ever would. Oregon was typically a 9-3, 10-2 team. He has made them kind of like the Alabama of the Northwest. They are recruiting at a higher level than almost anybody in the country. They're winning at a higher level at almost anybody in the country. Remember, last season, They went basically wire to wire after the first few weeks as the number one team in the country did in all the college football playoff rankings until they lost as the against the 8 seed Ohio State in that game. So offer him that kind of deal, right? 6 years, $15 million, unlimited NIL budget. What do you have here that you can't go without? We'll give you that. What do you not have here that you need? We'll give you that. If all those guys say no, whatever. You move on to the other guys in the list, either the interesting names or the 5 identified as the top targets. I am on Twitter at James Yoder. So I have gained about 400 Twitter followers in the last 20 hours since this news broke. So make sure you guys follow me. And if you've yet to do so, do it now. Subscribe to the damn channel. Hit that button right below today's video. We'll be back maybe later today, tomorrow with more on this Michigan football coaching search. Go Blue.